We've got Jonathan from Arizona, and he wants to talk about secular morality. What's going on, Jonathan?
Hey guys, and I am also driving, but a couple.
Be safe.
Called and talked to. Thank you. I am. I called and talked to Eric and Dennis on Talk Even, and the question, the way I worded it was, is secular morality objective? And that was just the entirety of the question.
I can answer this really quickly.
Question.
This will be easy.
I'm sure it will be quick.
My view of secular morality is that the foundation, which I describe as well-being, is ultimately a subjective decision. However, the assessments we make of comparing the consequence of an action to that goal can be objective, in much the same way that chess is a game where we made up the rules, but the assessment of positions in chess is objective, even if the original rules are subjective and arbitrary.
Okay, sure. And that's what that's what I've heard over the last decade as well.
Yeah.
So we could just as easily have said the exact opposite, that causing pain and suffering and harm would be considered moral if we determine that that is the objective that we want to reach, right?
Yeah, if your objective is to, have a worse world, a world where people are less likely to survive and things like that, it's just that that's not the way anybody really thinks about it, or at least not normally. But yeah.
We could also say that anything else is the objective. We could say that sex is the objective, or humor is the objective, or anything. We could. Why are you immediately jumping to harm?
But it seems to me that if we say we want a better world, that we want, we're talking about our health, we're talking about our well-being, there are facts in the universe that dictate that lopping off my head is not in my best interest, but maybe making sure that I have an appropriate diet with the right vitamins is in my best interest. The only thing you can object to, you or anybody else, is why do we care about what's in our best interest? And my answer is that we do. Doesn't matter why. We do. It's in our best interest. If you don't agree with that, I don't know what to tell you, but pointing to a God doesn't solve any of these problems.
Right. Yeah. And that's, essentially what Eric had said too, but yeah, I didn't bring up God or the Bible or anything like that. So in the most honest thing that we can say is, apart from what we decide objective morality is, it really is just a matter of opinion.
No. That's not it. So Jonathan, let's imagine you and I don't know anything about each other, and we don't know whether or not either of us believes in God or anything else. Do you want to live a life that is healthier, happier, or do you want to live a life that's miserable?
I personally want to have a happier, healthier life.
Me too. And by the way, so do most everybody else. And the people who don't tend to kind of off themselves or remove themselves from these conversations, et cetera. Now, irrespective of whether there's a God, do you think that we can discover truths about reality, about what actually leads to a better life?
Yes.
Okay. So now the only thing that's left is, why should we care about what's best for us? I have no evidence that any God exists. I have no evidence that any God cares about what's best for us. And for many of the religions that have been proposed, the character of the God within them demonstrably does not care about what's best for us in this life. As a matter of fact, a good number of them focus on an afterlife. So I do the only thing I can do, which is, since you and I agree I'd like to have a better life, is to go out and try to find out what makes for a better life and to work towards that. And if somebody wants to say, well, that's not morality, okay, I don't care. I'm still going to work towards well-being. And if somebody says, yes, but my God says this, well, okay, you need to demonstrate that, because all I keep hearing is what men say about their God. And it seems absurd that their God is so obsessed about sex and gay sex and mixed fabrics and shellfish and all of this other stuff. And these gods are advocating for slavery and misogyny and wars of conquest, none of which is clearly in the best interest of human beings. So I have no evidence that any God exists or has my best interests at heart.
Yeah, I understand all that. Maybe before asking the question, I should have said, let's both start under the impression that it's possible to know that there is no God, and we do know that there is no God. Because I don't know why God keeps coming up. I'm not even saying the word God. So
I'm sorry, you called the Atheist Experience to ask if secular morality is objective, and you're wondering why I'm bringing up God.
And he says you're a theist.
If you're questioning secular morality, what's the other alternative? Non-secular morality? Isn't that a God morality? I mean, let's not pretend that I'm way out on a fucking limb here by mentioning a God.
No, that's not. I'm not. Obviously, I know that that's what the show is about. The questions regarding God and gods and stuff like that. But I'm going if there is no God. See, now we're talking about God. If there is no God, there really is no obligation to want to do things that we would consider moral. So
okay,
can actually
hang on. That's true even if there is a God, because you believe there is a God. And even if I agreed with you that there is a God, I don't have to give a fuck what that God thinks. I'm under no obligation to care about that God or care about what that God wants for me or care about what God's opinion on morality. So what you just stated is true, irrespective of whether there's a God.
Okay, that's true. I agree with that. So
this is why at no point does appealing to a God solve a problem that people can raise with secular morality. But keep going.
So basically, all I want to really know is the statement raping a child is not intrinsically immoral? Is that true or false?
True, because nothing is intrinsically immoral. That's not the way morality is described. The notion that there's intrinsic morality is something that hasn't been demonstrated. But your emotional reaching statement is one where none of us would argue that it is ever morally permissible. Not that because it's intrinsically wrong, but because it violates the principles that we've already established, which is well-being.
It's so funny when people always go to that example, raping children. Who is advocating for raping children that gives you the impression that is on anybody's list of morals?
Well, it's in the Bible, actually.
Raping children.
Oh, yes, because you're supposed to kill all the men and all the women who have known men and all the boys, but you get to keep all the young virgin women for yourself. They become your thing. And so they can say, well, it doesn't say you have to have sex with them. You're right, but it does advocate for that. And by the way, in the Bible, if a man rapes a woman and she doesn't cry out loud enough, he's forced to marry her.
But even the people who represent the Bible don't believe that it is advocating for raping children.
Not by everybody else.
Right. So I'm just curious, where is this example coming from saying, well, but is it okay then? Because nobody's going out saying, let's all fight for rights of raping children.
I know exactly where it's coming from. And I'm hoping, because Jonathan's been straightforward on all this, that Jonathan would agree. Jonathan's concern, I'm betting, is that if there is no imperative, if there is no intrinsic wrong, that then someone may justify a worldview where raping children is okay. And yet God still does not solve this problem, does it, Jonathan?
It still happens.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's really, I get it, Jonathan. I swear I appreciate your honesty, and I'm never trying to be a dick here. I struggled with this same thing while I was formulating all this. And the truth is that there's nothing about problems with the secular morality that is in any way solved by appealing to God. It's frustrating.
I'm not trying to contrast the two. And Jenna, to answer your question, why do people bring up child rape? Because it's the most obvious that we know it's wrong. So that's why I personally use that as the example, because it's the most obvious wrong thing. It's the most obviously harmful, immoral thing that someone could do to a child. So I bring it up because there's really no way to say, well, no, it's not always the case where raping a child is immoral or it's wrong or whatever. That's why I personally do it. I can't speak for anyone else.
But well, the issue here is that you were looking for intrinsic, and that's a philosophical point. There's that, I can say there's nothing intrinsically right or wrong about anything ever. And it doesn't in any way impact the thing that you're concerned about, which is, do we have good reason to not do this? And the answer is yes, we do. And that's true with or without a God. I got to move on though, Jonathan, because we only got like 12 minutes left.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. I didn't get to talk to her. All right, I'll try and give you guys a call back.
I'm sorry. Yep. Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, that's right. You're driving.
I mean, it's all right. I mean, you're in the host seat.
I'm in the same seat, no matter whether I'm hosting or not. So yeah, let's just keep going because we got
I'm just so curious about that because there is a time when you find out that you don't believe in God, where you realize that list of 10 commandments is bullshit. And now you have to find your own, and it's scary. And you realize, I realized that I had to come up with my own rules for myself. And is raping children going to be on that list? Well, I don't know many people, again, that are advocating for that. The people that I know that are forced to literally come up with their own rule systems and actually think about it, try to help other people, try to decrease suffering. They base their morals on reality and helping each other and helping our species survive and suffer less, rather than just waiting for heaven and hell and just waiting for results and hoping that we'll get them,
There's a constant fear that this gets back to, without God, anything is permissible. And their concern is that if they agree that there's no reason to think there's a God, that all of a sudden this will cause the moral collapse of society, when the truth is it's not. It doesn't.
Yeah. There's no evidence for that.
Yeah.
We don't have any.
That comment from Penn Jillette, where he said he kills and rapes just as many people as he wants to, which is zero. I prefer to go at it a different way. And that is, if you, caller, seriously would run around murdering and raping and pillaging the second you found out that there is no God to hold you accountable, then I want you to keep believing in God, because clearly you need that. The rest of us can look around at the world, and even from a purely selfish standpoint, can say, you know what? Even if I did, if I wanted to do these things, which I don't have any interest in doing those things, but even if I did, it would be bad for me because I would be doing harm to people, and then I would likely pay a price for it. Even if I only give a damn about me, not doing the things that are going to harm people in society so that they come after me is a good idea.
Well, helping other people can be for you because it does make you feel good.
Yes.
In general, it does. So
it's probably, despite what some people think, the primary motivating factor for why I do almost everything in my life. I live my life primarily for other people, to the point where on occasion I have not taken care of myself and my own health concerns in that, because I want to help. I can't stop. This is an addiction.